I wanted to talk to you about this because you mentioned in your most recent video about Nebraska fans, like, really, I see this on my channel, getting in it with Colorado. I had another college football channel on 2 weeks ago,
Okay.
and he is someone who, whether for better or worse, loves Colorado, loves Deion Sanders. And people in the chat or in the comment section, mainly Nebraska fans, were so angry. And I get that
Yeah.
maybe his hype about it, like, is like, okay, you're too high on Colorado.
Hmm.
But then these mostly Nebraska fans, and I'm thinking to myself, why are you saying that you'll beat them by 50 points?
Yeah.
Like, two extremes there. And
Yeah.
also, they're losing a lot of players in the portal, but they're gaining players in the portal. And I get this feeling about Colorado that it's going to be a repeat of last year in this way. The way that their roster is changing so much that early on they're going to have an edge to them, and that you may not know what they are until a few weeks in, and that's going to be Nebraska's going to be in that stretch.
Agree.
So, what do you think about Colorado? Um, let's start there. We can talk about the rivalry in a few minutes. What do you just think about the team,
Yeah.
Deion Sanders?
I am a fan of Deion Sanders. I like his swagger. I like his confidence. I like that he does things his way. I like that he's going against the grain. I like that he knows how to build a brand. I like the business mindset behind it. I like that he thinks he's a billionaire and that he treats his whole operation like he is. I like that he puts the spotlight and the focus on his program. I like that he tries to help players build their brands and do more than just play football. Okay.
Yep.
I don't like that, although those are all positives, he's bringing that into college football because I don't think it is beneficial for the football program. I don't think it's beneficial for the fans. I don't think it's beneficial for those players who are there because I don't think it's going to last. I think it's a bit selfish. I think it's a bit too much on Deion's shoulders. I think it's too much about prime time, and prime time is not Colorado. You look at the Colorado merch. I went to the Colorado Nebraska game last year. They were selling prime merch. Well, prime isn't Colorado. You can argue, well, Nebraska has the OOU stuff, the One of Us, and Nebraska fans would wear that. But I think the prime, the whole idea that it's tied to that individual and not kind of a group saying or a group meaning, group message, it's just it's too far out there. And it doesn't make sense or align with the long-term development of a college football team. If you were going to say, well, how do we build this program that's going to last without me? Or how do we attach something that's going to last that's something we can all buy into, right? Like we're all buying into prime time. It's just, I get it. I like it. It's fun. It's flashy. I just don't agree with the approach in terms of this traditional sport and the way that it's been built up and the way that other coaches run their programs, the way he's kind of tilting it to his deal, right?
Yeah.
So that's my grief with it. In terms of what do I think about Colorado? I like their uniforms. I like their swag. I like that they come out the way they come out. I like the watches. I like the jewelry and the flash. That's all cool and fun. I think college football is about entertainment. Pro football is about entertainment, and college football is pro football now. So I think it's all about entertainment and having fun and being interesting. And they do a really good job at that. They make me want to watch their games. They make me want to fly to Colorado to see the games. They make me want to buy their merch. They make me want to make videos about them. They get people fired up on social media. That's what matters. That's what sells tickets. It's what drives NIL. It's what helps all of us, because for a fan, it helps me to be more entertained. For a player, it helps them to make more money. For a university, it helps them to bring in more money and more fan engagement. So everything he's doing is good for the sport. It's good for him. It's just really tough because you have these conflicting arguments, right? My one argument that says he's not traditional enough, and it could be taking away from, the deeper meaning and message for building a team in college football. But at the same time, he's doing all of these things that are so good for the sport and bringing value to everyone involved. So it's tough. I defer to he's going to do it his way, and I'm happy for him. And if it was at Nebraska, I'd be a little bit irked, I think, because it'd be too much. But again, this would never happen at a place like Nebraska. It wouldn't happen at Michigan. It wouldn't happen at USC. It only can happen at a place like Colorado with no backbone, with no identity, who's weak. He could go into a place that was broken, that was tattered, that no one cared about. And he could say, let me resurrect you and do it my way. I am going to be the stamp. I'm going to be the face, and you're going to accept it and you're going to like it. And you know what they all said? We're weak. Do it. We have nothing without you. Do it. We need a dictator. Be ours.
Yeah, didn't they give him like all the money that they had? Like I heard somewhere.
I don't know what they did, but I do know they sold. This is what they did. They sold their soul for relevancy.
Yes.
And guess what? It worked. But at the end of the day, they sold their soul. Like, let's just keep it real.
Yeah. Do you think they're gonna? Do you think they're falling apart like now? That's a thing. It seems like there's either they're falling apart or you're a hater if you say that, and those are the two camps. And there's not like,
I don't think they're falling apart. I think that's ridiculous. It's an over-exaggeration. They're losing some guys, but they're losing depth pieces. They're not losing their starters, their faces. Now, I say that, and then Dylan Edwards leaves, right? Outside of Dylan Edwards, it's not like they lost any key guys. People love to argue they lost depth. They brought in a ton of depth. I don't know how many guys they brought in from the portal. It might have been 31 transfers.
29.
They brought in former starters, guys who played significant roles in the SEC, the Big 12, wherever. They're going to have guys who can play. And attrition's a natural thing in college football in 2024, especially at a place like Colorado where things are against the grain, like I said before. So no, I don't think they're falling apart at all. I think they're building, and I think they're going to continue to get better. I don't think that team's going to win 4 games this year again. I think they're going to win 5, potentially 6, and go to a bowl game. Are they going to be a challenge for Nebraska? Hell yeah. Would I be surprised if Nebraska lost to them? A little bit, but at the same time, no. Like you said, they're going to come out here with their swag and with this different look that we haven't seen before. They've got a new coordinator. They've got some new players and new pieces. Their offense might be a little bit different. They had to make some changes because last year did not go the way they'd hoped it would. So it's going to be a different team. They're going to be a bit complex and complicated. And when you have to play them early on, it presents challenges.
Yeah. And I mean, whether it's Travis Hunter, I don't know. They return Hunter and they return Shador, and that's and they even return Jimmy Horn, and they bring in
they got LeJante Webster. What's his name? Webster from
LeJante Webster,
FAU, something like that, from some school in the South. It doesn't matter. They got guys. They've got plenty.
Yeah, I mean,
they've got guys. And here, you talked about the drama with Nebraska fans. Nebraska fans have a hatred towards schools that don't have the respect for Nebraska. So Nebraska fans on Twitter, they respect other fans who respect their fan base. So when fans are like, oh, I know what Nebraska once was or what Nebraska could be. Nebraska's a great place. We love their fans. We love all these positive things about Nebraska, even though they suck at football. Nebraska fans can get behind that and say, oh, thanks. We like that. We appreciate you. When fans don't respect Nebraska, it pisses Nebraska fans off. I don't know why. I could care less. But all these Twitter people, they get really emotional and they get in these fights because Colorado fans or Iowa fans or whoever else say you're bottom of the barrel, you're a has-been, da-da-da-da-da. It just irks people. And Colorado is the fan base who will always say and try and get under Nebraska fans' skin. So that's why there's so much drama between Nebraska and Colorado fans, because it's this constant battle of you're a nobody. Nebraska says you're a nobody, and then Colorado says you haven't won in 50 years. So who's the real nobody, you know? Just nonsense. That's where the Twitter drama comes from, though.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that. Before we get to this super chat, though, and thank you again, Jake Kivett, for the earlier $2 super chat, and for the one right now. Colorado also brought in Dallin Hayden from Ohio State, who I think is a good player. I mean,
he's a stud.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado is just, you know what? They're just weird. They're weird, and it's not a bad
weird
thing.
In what way?
It's not even. It just. Like, weird is an objective fact rather than, oh, that's bad or, oh, it's good. They're different, like you said. Like, they're not...
That's a better way to say it. They're different. I like that.
Yeah, they're different. They're intriguing, and they... I get the feeling they could be worse than last year, or they could be, like, leaps and bounds better, and that's the floor and ceiling. But before we go further, Jake Kivett does have another question.
Yeah, what's
Does
Jake
Prime
say?
leave when his kids and Travis go pro after
So
this year?
here's an interesting situation for Prime. Where would Prime go, right? Who was I talking to? I think I was talking to my cousin again. So you've got two choices if you're Prime. Either win right now with two of the best players in the country, and then use this season to go out to the South to an SEC or an ACC school, or whatever he wants to do. Kind of leverage this opportunity with, how do I get a equal contract or a bigger contract at a school that fits my brand better, that's in the South, where I can recruit the players I want to recruit. That's option one. But like I said, to get that option, you have to win right now. He needs to win 8 games at Colorado to prove he can go coach somewhere else. If Prime doesn't win 8 games at Colorado, who wants Prime? USF maybe, FAU, FIU, UAB, schools like that in the South would take him. So for Prime to leave this year, it's going to require either for him to say, I'm leaving and taking a step down because I can't get a job that's better and I need to get better recruits so I can get into the South. So I'll go to Florida and do that. Or I'm going to win 8 games or 9 games, whatever it would take, and I'm going to get a contract from a different school who I view as better than Colorado, because Colorado's a weak school and you can't build anything there. So which is it going to be for him to leave? Is it, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to go to a power or a group of 5 school, or I'm going to win 8 games and I'm going to get a better job somewhere else? Those are his only 2 options. Otherwise, he's going to have to stay. Right? What else would he do?
I completely agree with that. And he doesn't seem like someone who would take a step down job-wise unless it led to him and his brand growing. Like, I don't see him as someone who would accept defeat. I think that's why in his press conferences last season, he sometimes just looked totally ill. Not because he was, but he's not used to losing. And last year was his first.
Think about that. You're prime time. You won your entire career, and now you're at a place with 2 of the best players in the country in Shedeur and Travis, and you can't beat anybody. They lost to Stanford.
They got blown out by Washington State. I watched that game on Friday night thinking I'd have something entertaining, and they're getting defensive touchdowns. I mean, Cameron Ward is looking like...
that was the game when they got blown out and Shedeur got hurt. I remember.
Yes. Yeah,
I was in Tennessee for the Tennessee-Georgia game, and I was at a bar, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just watching this game on TV. Let me just throw it up. Let me throw a bet on here. So I put like $50 on Colorado. Worst $50 bet I've ever made in my life. And they just got absolutely blown out, and Shedeur came out in the first quarter or something. It was terrible.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of College Football with Sam. I appreciate it. And I would appreciate it even more if you were to hit that like button, comment your thoughts on this video down below, hit that big red subscribe button, and also click that notification bell so that your phone, laptop, or whatever device you use can ding or buzz whenever I release new content and notify you about it so that you can watch more videos like this. College Football with Sam is the best Big Ten football channel on YouTube. We're going to be doing a giveaway when we hit 20,000 subscribers, and we're trying to become one of the best, if not the best, college football channels on YouTube. Your support means so much, and to those of you who are subscribed to my Patreon or purchase merchandise from my store, the links to those are down in the description and pinned comment. Thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to my Patreons. Thanks to Crash2488 for being a Heisman member. Thanks to Spencer Bringhurst, Chris Lane, and Connor Little OH for being All-American members, and thanks to Will Loftus, John Lynn, Roaming Gnome, Matthew Sale, Austin Christmas, and Janisha Cockrell for being All-Conference members. Have a great day, guys, and if you're listening on Spotify or any non-YouTube podcast platform, please check the link in the channel description to find my YouTube channel, and if you're listening on YouTube, feel free to check out my Spotify, if you so please. Have a great day, guys, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.